All right, welcome everyone, ladies and gentlemen, here at Online Trading Campus to another episode of the Podcash. Today with our student Lars. Hi Lars.
Welcome. Hi Bernd. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Lars came all the way from Marbella, Spain to us here for a couple of days to have some mentoring sessions, and we thought we'd take this opportunity to also make a nice podcast for you guys. All right, let's get started. Lars, again, thank you for coming and traveling all the way from Marbella. Also a nice place to live, isn't it?
Can't complain, to be honest. Can't complain.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're not a full-time trader yet, right? Full disclosure, you're not a full-time trader. You have a corporate job. What are you doing for a living? When did you join Online Trading Campus? Tell us a little bit about your trading experience so far.
Sure. Currently I work in the IT industry. I do sales for an IT security company. Basically, that's been my whole career for the last 10 years. And I joined Online Trading Campus before Online Trading Campus existed, essentially, right?
That's going to be, we can elaborate on that because it's, I think, quite a nice story. So, yes, so when did you join me or us? Because it was not us yet, it was only me at this time, right? So when was it?
It was, essentially when I flew into Dubai to do classes with you or to do courses with you, that was in 2018. And I think Online Trading Campus back then was just a thought in your mind.
Yeah, it was just a vague project. Yeah, exactly.
But we knew each other from previous jobs.
Yeah.
And I've been following you on YouTube back then when you did the weekly market outlooks.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, no, this is true. So just for the audience, right, who are watching the podcast. So back then in 2017, obviously I was already a full-time trader. And I was doing, just to get a little bit of exposure and to showcase what I can do, I was doing this free weekly outlooks on YouTube. And yes, this is where you basically saw my trading results and saw that how I'm trading and what I'm doing actually and following this also a little bit, right? And this is how we got in contact about trading, and this is why you approached me about trading, right? So you basically got into trading then, you contacted me, you joined, basically, you asked for personal mentorship, for one-to-one coaching. Back then you were living where? In Singapore, right?
Back then I was living in Singapore, exactly.
Back then, so basically, ever since you're traveling the world, right? Dubai, you lived in Dubai, Singapore, now Marbella. So
Ireland,
insane. US. Yeah, so you're basically traveling the world and trading, right?
Pretty
and
much,
having a corporate job. That's nice. We get into this in a bit as well. So you joined me basically for personal coaching sessions in 2018.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then by default we're campus member as well when we launched 2019, right? Which was quite nice. And when you started to learn trading with me, did you have, I can't remember to be honest, did you have trading experience before? Were you a blank sheet? Why did you get into trading in the first place? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. I was a blank sheet for sure. I didn't even know what is a candlestick, how to interpret charts. Didn't know anything about it. And the reason I started trading is basically because I always wanted to have my own company, my own business. But then evaluating on what I could do in terms of what my personality type is, and also what it requires for to start other businesses versus trading. Trading essentially was exactly what I was looking for, because if I was honest with myself, I wanted to make money, and this is how I started. Right? I didn't have a product or a service where I said, okay, this is what I want to launch, and I think this is what the world needs. I basically just wanted to make money, and this is how I started. Right? Once you get into trading, you notice it's much more than just making money.
Absolutely.
But full transparency, this is how I got into it. I wanted to have my own business. And the purpose of that business was supposed to be making money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did it go? I mean, do you think it was a benefit for you to be like a blank sheet, or obviously what we're gonna talk about is creating and developing bad habits, right? It's all about bad habits. So if you're a blank sheet, you don't have bad habits yet, but if you're not a blank sheet, most probably you come with bad habits. So do you think it's an advantage to be like a blank sheet or not?
Well, in my personal opinion, I think it it benefited me personally to be a blank sheet, definitely. I mean, I think everybody has some kind of, in terms of the personality, you do bring certain bad habits into wherever you go. Because you have certain extremes. Some people get overexcited very quickly. Some people are too negative, and this always, I think this boils down into, or this, you can see that in whatever they do in life. But for trading, I think it helped me that I didn't have any prior experience, because then I don't have to unlearn even more bad habits. I just have to deal with the ones I have by default.
Okay, but that's quite interesting, because you just said you don't have to unlearn even more bad habits, right? To quote you. Do you think that during your journey, because in the beginning you said it was all about money, right? What are your thoughts now? Is it all about money, or was this one of your bad habits that you had, like that extreme money focus?
Yeah, 100%. So I think, how should I put it? You have to grow as a person somehow to become a successful or a consistent trader. Because again, if you're, for example, I know my personality type, I'm still very volatile in terms of I get very excited quickly, but then also I get too negative sometimes too quickly, so it's too volatile. And this is something you cannot afford in trading. So essentially, through trading, it helped me to be more leveled.
To balance yourself, 100%. To level yourself.
And also, trading gives me direct feedback if I'm still balanced enough, or if I'm falling back into my default.
Yeah.
So it's actually a great tool to see if your personal growth is on par with what you think it is.
That's a very interesting topic, like diving into that mental game of trading. And do you believe that when it comes to the mental game, right, there's almost nobody that can really help you, right? That mental game, you have to, I can, and you know that we have at Online Trading Campus, we have even a course that is covering the mental game. But essentially, I can talk about the mental game and how important mental stability is and blah, blah. I can do a lot of blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the game, yes, it might make sense to you, but you have to experience everything yourself and go through these ups and downs yourself. Otherwise, you will never learn from it. Or what do you think about that?
Oh, 100%, because you only know how you react in a certain situation once you're in that situation.
So yeah.
You know, you can tell me easily, okay, when you have four wins, don't 4x your R's or your risk.
Don't double your risk, don't triple your risk.
Exactly.
Right? Don't over leverage yourself. But I'm at the end of the day not pushing the button, right? Yeah. When it comes to risk management, money management, you are the one that is basically doing it for yourself. Yeah. Right? And I cannot control whether you, as my student, is doing the proper money management, right? Because let's face it.
It's up, and also, you know, like sooner or later, right? Your responsibility ends and my responsibility starts. So eventually, I'm like you said, I'm the person pressing the buttons, right? I'm the person risking the money, essentially. So that's up to myself. Yes. Definitely.
That's super interesting, and I think this helps people also to understand that. I love what you said. This is where kind of as a coach, right, my responsibility ends. However, right, I can always give you advice, but that advice might help you not like to, I mean, you still have to recognize the mistakes you make yourself at the end of the day, and you have to change it, right?
That's the point.
It is like that internal process that you realize. It's like moving your stop loss, for instance, right? We all have done it. We all admit it, right? We all have done it, right? But you only realize that, right, it might go well one time, it might go well a second time, but maybe the third time it will bite you in the butt, and then you will lose more than you initially planned to lose. And then you might not do it a second time or third time because you realize this really hurt me a lot. Yeah. But that internal process, that internal realization that I don't do this again because it hurt me before, you have to come to that conclusion, right, yourself.
100%. And then also, and that's what we touched briefly on before we started talking, right? The accountability towards yourself, and then eventually maybe also externalizing the accountability to keep you in line.
That's true. Let's talk about accountability a little bit later when we cover prop trading and FTMO and stuff like this, because there we have a lot to talk there as well. It's going to be super interesting. So please bear with us. Now, can you, because you are with me, with us since the beginning, even before, right? Can you describe a little bit your personal journey, trading journey, in the sense of where you started off, where you are now in terms of development, right? Money-wise, maybe also personal trading-wise. Where do you see yourself right now? Are you already on a level where you say, I'm a pro, or just describe your journey so far from the beginning to now, and maybe give some tips, some mistakes that you would say you could have avoided throughout the journey.
Sure. Well, let's start there. If you say, would I call myself a pro? I would call myself, okay, I'm consistent, but the market humbles you very quickly, I think. At least it humbles me very quickly.
No, all of us.
And we will get into that later.
All of us.
Later in the podcast. So I'm great. So I think, how should I put it? I think there are certain elements when you notice, okay, there's a noticeable change. And the easiest way I can describe it is, in the beginning, as I said, it's all about the money. So a good trade for me in the beginning was full transparency. When I made money, it was a good trade.
Yes, true.
This is how it felt.
Yeah.
When I lost money, it was a bad trade. And then the first time so number one, it doesn't help you to be consistent. And the second thing is the first time I noticed also a change in performance is when I was okay with certain losers. That was a big step for me.
What do you mean, okay with certain losers, if you can elaborate on that?
It essentially means I followed my process, and the outcome is whatever the outcome is. Because the market does what it does.
Because it's a statistical outcome, right? It's like a statistical loser, for instance, right? You followed your set of rules, and it's just the statistics that sometimes we have losers, sometimes we have winners, right? It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Statistics, basically. Yes.
100%.
So you were okay with the outcome because you followed your set of rules, and then it was a statistical loser, a statistical expense, and this is okay, right?
Exactly. So, and that's where I personally, I think, you move away from the money to the process, and that's what I said earlier. I thought it's about the money, but it's about much more than the money trading, right? It's more like have a process, follow the process, and be happy about the progress you make when you follow your process. This is more like a success now to me, and the money follows.
Yes, if I again can interrupt you here quickly, and then you can elaborate more on that topic, your journey. You're absolutely right. I can only stress the people who continuously focusing only on the money, they will never be consistent in their approach. They will never be a successful trader. They might have some winners, big winners, but eventually they're going to lose everything because they're going to over leverage themselves. They're going to risk too much, right? They will never have proper risk money management. They will lose for sure, right? So it's all about the process at the end of the day. So you have to learn to be happy with the process and making kind of baby steps to come to that point where you eventually, if you follow the process, you will make money eventually. That's the point, right? Money is only the end result. Yeah. Money is always only the end result of the journey, right, of following the process. And money will follow if you follow the process. That's very simple.
100%.
So thank you.
And then in terms of where I stand now, well, I make decent money, I would say, and just to touch.
Can I? I mean, sorry to interrupt you here, but I think we are jumping too quick from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So, because now we are in 2023. You started basically, let's say, into mid 2018. I think you came to, was it April, May? I can't remember.
February.
Oh, Feb. Wow, it's great. Yeah. So it's been now 4 or 5 years roughly, right? Did you trade I don't know, did you had some breaks in between? Did you say or were you continuously practicing on your craft basically? Did you have some big longer breaks in between? Because it's like we have to everyone has to understand when you start trading, you're starting that, as you said, that business, because you're an entrepreneur now, you're starting that trading business, and every business has some ups and downs, right? And it's important to stay still if you are down, right? And every one of us has some downs, right?
Yeah.
Especially during that journey in the beginning. Did you have some thoughts of, let me quit, or do you like, let me push through it? Never.
Quitting, never, because also like, I think to me trading is the best job in the world.
Yeah.
It is literally, you don't, I love freedom, and trading is the only job essentially where you have 100% of freedom. You don't have customers, you don't have bosses, you don't have stakeholders. It's the best job in the world, but it's also super, super hard.
Why is it super hard?
Number one, statistics, right? Number one, statistics. We know the broker numbers. I think it's usually something like 80-20, so 80% fail. And out of those 20%, how many of the 20% really make money?
Consistent money, not only.
Consistently make money. That's why the market is brutal. You don't have a beginner's market where I can trade with my neighbors. Like whatever market I'm participating, JP Morgan is participating, Goldman Sachs is participating, and all they want to do is get my money.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Yeah, the way how you express it is very simplistic, but that's the way how it is, right?
Well, it's straightforward. Yeah,
it's the poker table analogy where everyone sits on the same table, right? The big institutions, big money, the big banks, institutions, the smart money, and we retail traders, right? And they want to take the money from us because at the end of the day, trading is a zero-sum game, right? Left pocket to right pocket. Money is not growing on the trees. Money is not raining, right? It has to circulate on that table. So yes, the smart money wants our money, right? So we have to follow the smart money essentially, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
So that's but yes.
And full transparency, and obviously because we talk about quitting, and this is good where I have a mentor or something, because I know it's possible. I know it is possible, and I see it firsthand that it's possible to do it. So that's why it's hard to find a setup like this where you see somebody you personally know, where you know it's verified, and you know, okay, it is possible. You're helping me out basically to find the steps. Of course, I have to walk the path myself. But it's a great setup to have, and I don't take it for granted, because a lot of people look for, their business idea. A lot of people look for what could I do outside of my job. But finding something like that is very, very rare, and that's why I never thought about quitting. Although definitely in the beginning I made way too many mistakes, and also I repeated way too many mistakes. And but thinking about quitting, never.
Right. And now, and what your status now? Like, so you say you are consistent now in your approach? What do you feel like? So if you're consistent, you're pro. We don't talk about money, because money doesn't matter. Once you're consistent, we will talk about scaling up your business later on, and I will do this in a couple of YouTube videos as well, how we scale up our business and so on and so forth. We don't have to dive into scaling up the business, but once you're consistent, then it's about scaling up the business. Now you're consistent. What do you think you can still improve on your trading?
Well, a lot. No, that's so number one, right? The mental game, depending on the paradigm, and that's, for example, once you want to do a prop firm challenge. The paradigm, at least for me, it shifts a bit. And then again, you have to adapt to the new environment. That's the mental game. And then, do you want to go into KPIs or?
Yeah, you can whatever you want, and then we see how.
Well, I noticed also now starting with with the challenges where you also focus a bit more on daily incomes. My KPIs changed a bit in terms of my risk to reward is dropping, because I take more one-to-ones and things like that. What I want to do is trade management is something where for sure I need to improve more in terms of holding the trades longer and increasing the risk to reward ratio in the daily income context.
Yeah, for the viewers, now you have a full-time job, right? But you work from home in Marbella. You have a nice home, you work from home, you trade from home, you work from home, nice life, right? So what is your trading style, if we start with that? You said daily income, weekly income, people cannot, it's like campus terminology, right? So when we refer to weekly income, people might understand it's basically swing trading, right? Swing trading, and daily income is day trading. So just that people know who are watching too. Day trading and swing trading. So since you work from home, you trade from home, so you have already a certain amount of freedom, right? What is your trading style? Would you say you are a swing trader, weekly income trader, or would you say you're a day trader, daily income trader? Is it a combination of both? What is your style?
So I don't discriminate time frames, right? I like
I used to do. Hate on all the day traders. No, I'm not hating on day traders, right? I'm day trading myself. I do daily income myself once in a while. I just say it's more reasonable for the people out there, for the public who have a full-time job, who have family, hobbies, obligations, that day trading is not a reasonable and realistic goal to achieve. Start with, especially also because it's more volatile, you're more exposed to noise in the market. Start with swing trading, right? Yeah. And if swing trading is not working out for you, then day trading is also not working out for you, right? It's like
definitely.
It's like a top-down approach and not a bottom-up approach, right? So that's all what I want to say. But yes, so what would you say you are?
I would say 60% swing, 40% day trading. But just one thing, I mean, day trading is not like 5-minute, 15-minute charts.
This would be scalping, right? Okay, we're not talking about scalping because, again, scalping is something that doesn't...
So for me, it's all about the setup, basically. So what I notice is less is more, in the sense that I'm looking for premium setups. And then I don't care if it's now, you know, is it covered by weekly and then I find the entry on the daily, or is my big brother is it covered by the daily and then I find my entry on the 120-minute? As long as the setup is good, the setup is good.
It's getting very technical here. So you said like covered and big brother, so people might not understand that. That's fine. So that's why I'm here. Yeah. So let's talk more now about execution time frame. Yeah. What are the time frames you execute your trades? You execute
between 60 minutes and daily.
60 minutes and daily. Yes. Me as well, 60 minute and daily. I don't go lower than 60 minute, hardly. Like in this year, I took, I think, one trade, this was a 15 minutes, or two trades, it was on a 15 minutes, but that's it, right? But other than that, 60 and daily, I do the same thing. So, okay, so most of your trades 60.
I haven't taken, like thinking about this year, I don't remember the trade that would take below 60 minutes.
With that kind of time frame, how much time do you need for trading on average per week, per day? How do you manage your week when it comes to trading? So if you can can you live the quote unquote set and forget and get a lifestyle? And what's your approach there? How does your routine look like? If you can tell the people, how does your trading routine, your weekly trading routine look like? Do you have some office hours maybe where you say dedicate only for trading during the weekend? So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it's office hours is a good topic. Usually so on the weekend, that's where the majority of the work happens, right? Usually Sundays, but I actually have two blockers, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and it's in total. It's 2.5 hours roughly, and those 2.5 hours include your Sunday session, and that's why I'm saying 2.5 hours depending on how long the session is.
So for everyone who is watching, so I'm doing a weekly outlook basically for the campus community. We call this weekly Funded Trader Weekly Outlook, where I go through the markets that I trade personally as well, and where I find trade setups as well, and I share them with our students, right? So that's what you're watching on a Sunday. This is part of your preparation. Yeah. This is your prep time, right? Okay.
Essentially, I'm doing my analysis, everything before, and then it's just kind of reconfirming if you see, at least for the markets you're presenting, if you see the same thing I see, and if there's ever going to be a difference, then I would need to understand why. But that's basically the approach. It's like 2 hours roughly. I do my own analysis on the weekend, and then watching your prep the week ahead. Yeah.
So my prep the week ahead. Yes. So that's your weekend routine. Yeah. So roughly 2 hours. You do your own prep ahead, right? Kind of analysis. And then how does your process look like throughout the week on a daily basis? Do you have a process? Do you have a routine? I mean, I think obviously since you are already consistent, you have a routine, but maybe you share your routine with the people who are watching.
Definitely.
Because a lot of people are going to watch, and we talk about this as well, how people actually, surprisingly, I'm very happy that people love the podcast already, because it's like two traders talking, and I think you see that, right? But we talk about this in a second. First of all, what's your daily routine during the week?
Yeah, I mean, it changed a bit because when I lived in Singapore, right, the market opening was at night, so I didn't have any issues at all. Now in Europe, it's a bit different. Now market opens at 3:30, but the way I usually do it is I don't take. So let's start there. On average per day, I would say I spend, between 45 minutes an hour, which I don't know if it's necessary, but for me, I spend 45 minutes to an hour every day.
If I can jump in here. Doing the analysis, just watching the charts, actual trading. It's more like chart watching.
It includes everything. It includes everything,
right?
especially during market open, because what I also like to do is like the Globex traps.
Okay.
And that's why when I do my lunch break, right, I don't do the lunch break at 12 or at 1. My lunch break is from 3 to 4, essentially, because that's kind of where
in Europe, the market opens,
yeah, exactly,
right?
Where the market
so
opens.
Dubai time, 5, yes, 3:30, yeah, okay.
So that's kind of that 1 hour, and then when the market closes as well.
Okay.
That's when and again, like I don't use the full hour during that during my lunch, but this is the hour I block essentially where I watch the market opens, and in the evening I have another 15 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Depends on what's happening in the market as well. But in general, that's more like also more out of interest.
Yes,
out of necessity.
I know, I do the same.
Yeah.
Right, of course. Absolutely, because I watch the charts because I love watching the charts.
Yeah. Actually, I had to put a set of rules in place that I don't watch the charts that much as well.
Because it's my passion. That's what I do for a living since now 10 years, right? During that 10 years, I can't remember one single day where I didn't watch the charts, right? I even find myself, I know it's sick, but I even find myself during the weekend when the market is closed, just randomly open the charts because I'm just so used to it, right? But yes, it's just because we love what we are doing, right? That's essentially, it's like, so yes, it's because we love what we are doing, not because we have to, right? Let's assume if you just watch the chart because you have to, would you need that 1 hour per day? Or?
No. I mean, the thing is, right, once on the weekend, I set a few trades for the week. Then every day, once the market closed, I see how did the market close. Is there, and I don't go through all the markets for daily income, right?
Yes.
There are a handful of markets. I go through a few major pairs, right? The indices, for example, and see if there's if I find a new setup. So it's, how much would I really need? Depends if I find something or not. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 15 minutes.
So you would say on average, you would need maybe, let's exaggerate a little bit, 30 minutes a day on average maximum.
More than enough.
More than enough, right? And this is basically, right, so we can cover the question, what would you tell people who say they have a full-time job, they don't have time for trading? What's your answer? I mean,
no, it's an excuse.
Obviously. An excuse, right?
So just one thing, in the beginning, when you learn trading, definitely you spend way more time with the material. But once that is done,
you're learning.
Definitely.
And the more time you put, it's like, I mean, but this is not like a surprise, right? Once you start learning something, the more time you invest, the bigger the outcome usually, right? So that's how it goes. But once you are at a certain level, right, that's what I'm always referring to, the 1 hour a day mindset. First of all, the 1 hour a day mindset is not during one particular hour, right? It's basically 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, another 5 minutes here. And it's not even 1 hour. The 1 hour is actually, if we really boil it down to what we would actually need, it's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, right? And everyone has that amount of time if they can prioritize their day.
100%, 100%.
Yes, if we jump to another topic quickly, and we just talked about this before the podcast started, when you said like, or when we discussed how surprisingly that podcast, already the first episode and the second was so successful, right? And people are watching these episodes. that we do here? Why do you think people enjoy them so much?
Well, because I think you can tell that there are actual traders talking, right? Obviously, you need a certain title for YouTube so that people come.
Yeah.
But I think people stay and watch the video.
True.
Because they see that, yeah, the people who are talking here really do what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're real traders.
Yes. We keep everything real. That's very important, right? And we say if François made $17,000, right, and this was his strongest month, we don't say, hey, this was like an average month, and it's like, we say this is an outlier, but we need these outliers to cover for our more like mediocre, weak month, right? It's like any other business. You have extremely good month, you have like mediocre, weaker month. It's it's not like straight up, right? It's just like any other business, basically,
100%.
right? So, perfect. Let's go quickly before we cover the prop trading stuff, right? We have still at the campus, we have daily live trading sessions, right? You are now at the level where you are consistent, not just by blindly copying trades, right? You're consistent by finding your own setups and doing your own analysis. And just as you said, and I liked how you said it, you basically do your analysis beforehand, and then you basically just aligning with my analysis, with Jan's analysis, with Tobias' analysis, with whatever analysis our campus expert traders do, and then you see if they see the same thing than you do, basically. So are you doing this with all the live trading sessions, or how did they help you in the very beginning? How are you utilizing them now since you are consistent and since you are a pro? Maybe you can elaborate on that as well.
Yeah, sure. So for sure, your Sunday session is a hard part of my routine. Let's put it like
I appreciate that.
No, but it's not just because of you. It just fits pretty well.
Yeah,
right?
Sunday is always great.
Sunday,
Everyone can do that, yes.
But for sure, what I always do also every day is I compare my analysis, for example, Forex with a Forex grid.
Okay, you do Forex as well? FX?
A lot, yeah, actually quite a lot. Yeah. That's why I think you don't trade Forex that much, right? Yeah, I do Forex a lot, yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
It's mainly indices.
You stick to your roots. It's an insider. We will not mention that insider nickname for Lars. Only the Germans will understand. But let's continue.
Yeah, beautiful market.
Yeah, beautiful market.
No, obviously I trade everything, but
cool.
The bread and butter is indices for sure, and Forex as well. Yeah.
So you're a multi-asset trader, right? You trade Forex, you trade equity indices, sometimes stocks as well, stock CFDs.
Stocks as well, but I cover that mainly through the indices, but stocks as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
So multi-asset, right?
Yeah, 100%. Commodities.
Okay, so you watch the live trading sessions throughout the whole week, the Forex grid, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the grid are the quote-unquote signals, right? So to say, right?
Yeah, it's just again to compare to see if we see the same thing.
Perfect. Now let's get into prop trading, right? So you basically started your prop trading journey as well, right? And congratulations, you passed the challenge. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. But I like how you started.
There are always two sides of the medal, and but you failed verification. Again, I love to keep everything real here, and I think this is why people love to watch this stuff. So you passed the challenge, and you failed your first verification. Right? You did so far one thing, right? One evaluation, passing challenge, failing verification. So let's help me to understand, because the challenge you have only 30 days and you need 10% ROI, which is much more difficult than a verification where you have double the amount of days, 60 days, and you only need to accomplish 5%. But you're not alone, and I've seen other students passing the challenge with an ease, but then failing the verification. How is that possible? Explain it to me. What do you think? What do you think? No, it's really, I've seen this, so you're not alone. You're not alone right here. And I've seen this before, and I also know the answer, but I want to know from you, what do you think? Why do people pass the challenge that is seemingly more difficult than a verification?
Well, obviously I cannot answer for everybody else, but for me definitely was because, so I ignored the 60 days and 5%. It's been going so well, right? The previous weeks, the previous months. And then the mindset is not, okay, now I I have 60 days to make the 5%. No, it's just let me quickly get those 5% so I can finally get funded and finally start trading the prop money.
Yeah.
And this is basically, so I didn't adjust my risk, for example. So full transparency for the challenge, 2% risk.
Yes.
I continued with the 2% because that's...
How long did it take you to pass the challenge?
15 days.
Okay, really quick, 15 days, challenge passed, was going really smooth because you're consistent, all right. And then you went into the verification, you continued, right?
100%. Who needs those 60 days? I need, I want the fund right now.
Yeah, you want the fund. It's the impatience that is biting you in the butt, right?
Definitely, and this is kind of where I say some people bring bad habits. Kind of, this is my default is that I'm getting too excited too quickly. Whereas in my regular trading environment, I learned to deal with it.
Yes.
With the verification, it's proof again that there's still areas to work on.
Because you made money with your you made money last month, right? With your own money, and we can again. Peter, we will show it, and we will show it, right? We'll show it in the podcast that actually prove, right, that Lars is making money with his own. So he's consistent with his own account, trading his own money. But obviously, we all know that prop trading is like a no-brainer for all of us, right? And we can also scale this to like infinity almost, right, to 7-digit number. Now, so we all want to become prop traders. So you think it was the impatience that you
story
said,
of my life, yeah. It's
okay.
the impatience.
That you say I continued 2% because if you did the 1% risk, then you would have been still in the game. You would have still most probably done the next few trades again went well, and then you would have. Right?
Well, I think week 3 or something. I had more than over a month. I still had over a month left essentially to finalize the verification. But yeah, again, I want it as fast as possible.
So what's your? That's okay, right? I mean, your first try passing the driving license, so to say, you failed. Now the second try. What are your learnings? The learnings are obvious, but let's speak it out. What are your learnings and what are your tips for everyone who's going through that evaluation phase and then passing the challenge and then going to the verification stage?
Well, high level, stay humble, right? No, it's true because sometimes, again, the market is volatile and traders can be, or people can be volatile as well. Stay humble, adjust the risk. So if we go into practical steps, adjust the risk. So I go from 2%, which I also think is best for the challenge, go down to 1%. And then always remember, we have 2 months. And maybe what I'm also doing is just have a look back at your trade log and see, hey, how much you can achieve, how much you usually achieve in 2 months, right? And then you suddenly notice that actually, okay, I have time. I do have time, and it's not a big difference if I get the account after a month or after 2 months. In the long term of things, or a greater scale of things, a month doesn't make a big difference.
That's exactly. It's always the greater scale, right? It's not like, but we always want things now, especially as traders, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do now. Obviously, if that's going to work out eventually, we will see. But these are my
biggest
practical
learnings,
steps and the biggest learnings, definitely.
Yes. So, yes, definitely. Good luck for the next. I mean, we and the campus and myself, we will help you to pass that whole evaluation eventually. Since you are consistent anyway, it's just a matter of time, right? And it doesn't matter whether you fail once or twice. It doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It's just like, as we all have sometimes a bad month, or like we make mistakes, mental mistakes, right? Or in terms of risk management or money management, we made mistakes there. So that happens, and this is okay. So as long as we learn from that, right? Nice. So we can slowly come to an end, but I would like to understand. So, what are your trading goals? So, my last question for you, and then you can ask me one question if you have one. What are your trading goals for the coming year, for the future? What do you want to accomplish? You can say in terms of money, but also like in terms of personal goals. Like, what are your trading goals?
Yeah.
Do you have one? We have some that you want to share. Yes.
No, definitely. So obviously, getting funded is one of the goals, right? That's the imminent next step.
Yeah, this is your priority right now.
That's absolute priority in my, I would say, even in my life, right? Not even in trading, but in life that I'm gonna get funded.
What's the advantage of? Why do you think getting funded is so? Why do you like prop trading? Why do you think prop trading is like a no-brainer?
Yeah, because it's kind of risk-free, right? Once you pass the stage and you get funded, you trade other people's money. You don't risk your own money, right? And it immediately gives you huge leverage, right? Suddenly you have an additional 100K to trade, and I don't know other people, but it's not easy to find from your personal accounts 100K to put into another trading account. Yes. So it's not your money, and it scales you up very quickly.
Yes. So the scaling, right? I mean, people don't understand nowadays, and for me, prop trading is the future. As traders, we are entrepreneurs. We are running a business, and this is the only business in the world. First of all, right? As we know, we don't need to invest more time to make more money, right? We talked about this. It's always the same amount of time. It's just the scaling part, the risk management, the money management part. Plus now with prop trading, another element comes in. It's all of a sudden, our business is risk-free. We just have to pay for the evaluation, but it's risk-free. I mean, if somebody told me 2-3 years ago that I can do trading risk-free, I would have immediately said that's a scam, right? But this is the reality nowadays. It's risk-free trading plus the time element. The time element is out of the equation because we don't have to invest more time to scale up our business. It's just the biggest trading nowadays. It's just for me the biggest no-brainer in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I can only agree. And I mean, the amount of money, and then if I tag along on that, future goals, obviously the amount of money you're handling right now via the prop trading firms is something I'm thriving towards as well. It doesn't have to be the 2.4 million, but eventually getting $1 million in funding, that would be amazing because the overall goal is right. At the moment, trading is one pillar of my income, and the plan is to increase that pillar more and more, so that eventually that's going to be my main source of income.
Yes.
That's the overall goal.
That's the overall goal.
Yeah.
Right. And the steps in between, prop trading, getting funded, and then scaling up the funding money. Yeah. Right. Perfect. That are goals that you can definitely accomplish, and these are also achievable, realistic goals. Right. Perfect. Any more goals? This is your goals? I mean, do you have any goals that you would say you would like to improve, in terms of the mental game? Is there still something? Because these are more like monetary goals, right? Kind of hard facts, hard targets, hard KPIs, getting funded. Do you have some personal goals that?
100%, and that's one of the reasons why I came here, right? Yeah. Flew in and looking for more mentorship because. So, let's put it like that, and I touched on that earlier, right? The externalizing the accountability, essentially. So being a bit more transparent with other people as well, what I'm doing, or essentially with you, right?
Yes.
With what I'm doing, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think this would have already helped to avoid the mistake I made in the verification phase. So in that sense, for sure, being more transparent or sharing more of the process and what I'm doing as a first step with you.
Yes.
To help me keep myself in check, essentially.
The accountability part, right? I think it's a very staying accountable. It's obviously super important, but staying accountable only with yourself is usually very difficult. I realize this myself as well, and of course, I mean that's why me personally, I'm also of course, I'm publicly exposed on all the social media channels, right? With the campus, I have to be right? I have to show proof. I want to show proof that we are different than all the other education providers because we actually are not self-proclaimed gurus. We really make money trading, right? And we can prove that we do. And this is very important for us as a licensed investment consultancy here in Dubai. Now, so yes, so you have to stay accountable to yourself, and I think it would help you, yes, if you stay accountable not only to yourself, and if you share your results with other people outside yourself, so to say, right? And with your family, with your partner, with campus, even on social media, say, hey, look, I passed. Look, the best thing would be like between us, of course everyone is watching, but between us, and let's do that. The next time you start the FTMO or any challenge, any verification, you say, I start now my challenge.
Okay. No pressure. No pressure at all.
Okay, this is maybe too much, but you can, once you pass the challenge, you post, I passed the challenge. Because then people are expecting that you pass the verification.
Yeah.
You know, this would give you, I think, yes, it's pressure, but that pressure keeps you accountable, right? And it keeps you basically in check with your risk management and money management, because now you know you have eyes on you.
Yeah.
I think this helps. It helps me.
Well, and obviously that was a learning, right? Because after, for example, once I passed my challenge, I didn't even send you. I didn't even tell you.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't. I told you like a month ago.
I didn't know. Yeah.
But I told you after I failed the verification. Essentially, that's when I told you, hey, by the way, I actually passed the challenge.
Yeah.
Already a big. In this case, that was already the mistake. Kind of. And that's why. That's like we just said.
And other students do that as well, by the way. They say,
so it's not just me.
No. Like they share all the results. They share, hey, I passed the challenge. I get a repeat, or I failed that. Like they share with me everything transparently, or like with us, not only with me, right? With their mentors, basically, right? So that's good. Yeah, if you share your results publicly or internally here at the campus, I think it would help you to stay more accountable.
For sure. So the next step for sure, sharing with you, maybe sharing with the campus. Well, yeah, why not actually? Yeah. But in general, that's already a big step, because going back to personality, I'm a very private person. I don't post a lot. Maybe that's why it was also a big hurdle for me to do it. But I know that's something I have to do.
And it's just like you get used to social media, right?
Well, I'm not going to start a YouTube channel anytime soon. That for sure, no.
Maybe people ask you after the podcast. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. All right, Lars, do you have anything? So how do we end usually these podcasts? Do you have a last question to me? Otherwise, we can end this.
I only get one.
You get one question, yeah. Okay. Everything else we can do off camera.
Okay, cool. But then let's make it a 1A and B, because it ties in. And obviously without naming names, but who are your mentors?
Yeah.
And so what do they do? And when do you reach out, or how is your relationship with your mentors? When do you need them, in quotation marks?
Yes, well, I don't say names, but I can say one name, and unfortunately, it's a sad story. He just a couple of 2 months back or so, he passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Bob Dunn, he was 70, he also former floor trader. He got a heart attack. Yes, he unfortunately died. But I have two more. One I don't, let's say I have one more mentor that I reach out frequently, but he's also now in his 80s already. So my mentors are really like, and I'm lucky for that. I'm really grateful for that. A former floor trader, so they're really kind of from the old generation. And the other one, I don't reach out anymore. I just don't need his support anymore. But I consider him my mentor during my journey. He was one of the big pillars where I learned a lot from him. And I have still one that I occasionally reach out, but not anymore so much. I have to say, I was actually, before Bob died, I was talking to him just like, actually we also wanted to get him involved in the campus. That's a different story. But yes, you catch me off guard with this question, because right now I don't have anybody where I can reach out to except the other one that I don't necessarily need. But what I use is, to change your question a little bit, now the more money I trade, now I'm trading 2.4 million right now as we speak, right? Just prop money. Now, of course, the more money I manage, the more emotionally I get involved as well, right? So what I do more is also sharing my trades and especially my trade management part with Jan, right, with my brother. So I tell him basically where I put my targets and where I want to get out of the trade and how I'm planning to do my trade management. And then he's basically also following up with me and saying, hey, did you follow your trade management? And hey, did it hit your target? So I don't do like maybe some things that are caused by emotions and not by my previous plan. So I'm fully aware that the more money I manage personally, right, the more mentally it gets more difficult mentally, right, psychologically, because you have more money in the market. But yes, and that's why I use Jan a lot just to discuss my setups, my risk, in general, my trading with him. Not like asking, hey, would you take this trade and stuff like this? More like sharing with him what I'm doing, and this helps me to kind of also stay accountable, right? And also to manage my emotions, because it's, right, and again, real talk, it's not a lie that when we say, it's not these high ups and downs, but if we have a good trade, yes, we are more like relaxed, versus when we have a bad day, then we are more tensed. Absolutely 100%. Everybody who denies that is a bloody liar. I can say that. So we have these emotional ups and downs, but it keeps me in check with like talking more about my trading with Jan. And thankfully we have this campus environment where we have people inside the campus where we can talk about our trades, how we're planning to take our trades, not how we're planning our trades. And so I really appreciate his support there, just listening basically, right? And following up.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries, yeah.
Can I squeeze in another question?
Yes, the last one though.
Okay. In terms of your own trading, where do you see the biggest area of improvement? Is it more on the technical side or is it more on the emotional side?
Well, I would definitely say technically there's not much. I don't see any space for improvement. It's really, the more we scale up our business, so trading is will be challenging our whole life, because we're gonna scale our business for the rest of our life, right? We're gonna take more risk, we're gonna trade more money, we're gonna take more risk, right? So I think it's the mental side of things that keeps being challenging all our trading life. So this is where we constantly have to work on, right? It's not so much technicals, because technicals, I'm following my set of rules, I'm taking my trade, I'm consistent. Never change a running system, right? Never change a running system, so it's all good there. But of course, the more money I'm gonna manage, the more money I'm gonna handle, the more risk I'm gonna take, I have to fight against my inner demons, right? That's what we have to do. So we have to, in trading, we constantly have to fight our inner demons, and that will be the challenge throughout the rest of our trading career. So that's what we are working on, and I'm working on as well. And yeah, that's where I see space for improvement, really fighting against my inner demons, mentally staying accountable to myself. It's the mental side of game. Yeah, it's the mental side, yes.
Good stuff, awesome.
So, thank you, Lars. It was really, I enjoyed that podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching another Podcash episode. If you liked it, and if you have a question to Lars, I think you can follow him on Instagram. You can follow him you're on LinkedIn as well, right? Leave a message below. I also put his Instagram handle in the description. Follow Lars, send him a message, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and see you on the next Podcash episode.